And finally, she talks about surrender, where she says, when you think you have surrendered, surrender some more. Um, this is like this chapter on surrender is extremely important for people who are, controlling in nature, who want to be in charge of all situations. From my personal experience, what I have understood is that things that we can control are very limited. The things that are beyond our control are a lot more, right? Um, so in if those situations, many times our challenges come, we might be doing the right things, but if people around us say they are not taking care of their health, or they are not doing things that we want them to do, right? Then we get very angry. We feel that we have to pay the price for their actions, right? These are things that you might have experienced as well. So in those situations you feel helpless, right? So in those situations it is best to surrender. And we also get fixated on achieving our goals. So she says, this is like, a perspective shifting line. Goals overshadow guidance. Take the time to absorb this, because it just took me you know time to absorb this, because we all know that goal setting is good, planning is good, but many times we get too fixated on it. We plan every single detail. What happens is that we then convince ourselves that yes, I have the ability to do what is best for me, right? So goals overshadow guidance. When we overplan, what happens is that we block this natural connection, natural order, and we say that this is how things should pan out. So if I do this, next this should happen, next this should happen. So this is the sort of over planning. What would happen is that then there could be limitless possibilities that we are just blocking ourselves from. So what she says is that yes, goals are important, but set your goals and surrender it to the universe. And then you take your hands off the steering wheel. Okay, just let go. Trust the path of the universe. Um, and many times we get fixated on the timing, right? We want our goals to happen at this particular time, right? If it doesn't happen within that time, then we get very jittery. So she says that have faith that everything is happening for you at the right time, at the right time when you will be able to grow or heal. So take your hands off the steering wheel, set the goal, surrender, and wait for it to happen. Let the universe decide the right time for you. And the other way to look at goals is that if we are looking at goals, and we invariably link achievement of goals to happiness. If this happens, then I will be happy. Then I will feel successful. Then I will feel on top of the world, right? So all these are the expectation of the outcome of the goals. So instead of looking at goals, focus on celebrating what you already have. This is like the practice of gratitude, where when we focus on what we have currently, and we are grateful for it, we thank the universe for it, then it creates more of what we want. So this is very important, how gratitude helps us to achieve our goals. Okay, and finally, uh, change. This is like the last chapter, where we think that when we get into this path of spirituality, we don't have to worry about the world, where we don't have to be concerned about what's happening with the world. There are many spiritual practitioners who become disconnected with what is happening with the world, right? So they call themselves spiritual activists, but either they are apathetic or they are not um, uh, tuned into what's happening in the world. They are ignoring, they think that things will resolve by themselves. Let me just work on my own, right? So, first thing she says is that we change the world when we shift spiritually. That is the first step. First, we need to work on ourselves, where we look at our attitudes, we look at the areas where we hold on, where we are not able to forgive. What are the kind of wounds from the past from which we are yet to heal, right? These are the things that we start to look at, and we start to improve upon, right? So when we start taking actions on these aspects, then that actually creates a change in the world, in the world in the sense people around us. But at the same time, um, we also need to look at what is happening around, speak up when necessary, right? So when we connect to the universe will inspire us to speak up when necessary. This is something that um, I have found personally, where suddenly there'll be some issue that would, for which I feel a compulsive need to speak up, um, where the universe uses me as a messenger to share something, right? So um, it is required for people to speak up when necessary. And we also look at what is happening around the world, and we devote our prayers to people who need them. So the line that she beautifully says is that being conscious of the darkness in the world fuels our desire to bring more light, right? So um, it's not just because we become a spiritual practitioner doesn't mean that we sort of detach ourselves from the worldly activities. So we become an instrument for love. We ask the universe to make use of us for the highest good, right? So that is how we bring change in the world. So start working on yourselves first, make those changes, make understand yourselves, self awareness, self growth, all those aspects. As they move forward, we also look at what's happening around, also keeping our eyes open to understand how the world operates and where we can be the instrument.